Right, thank you so much for staying with us here on Friday Briefing. It's now time for our guest anchor. But before he anchors as a guest, you said that you will beat me at my job.
Of course, I think I'll perform
Really?
better.
Of course?
Yes.
Okay, for that reason,
No, but you're
please,
really good though.
my auto cue operator, make sure that he has a hard time tonight.
With auto cue.
Yes. We'll see.
That's it.
Thank you so much. Johnson Sakaja, TNA chair-nominated member of parliament and also an aspirant in the race for the Nairobi Gubernatorial seat.
Yes.
First things first, if you aren't here right now, what would you be doing? Being, a youthful person, what is it that you'd be doing on a Friday night?
On a Friday night, I'd probably
Say the truth.
I'd probably be somewhere in Nairobi.
What do you mean somewhere in Nairobi?
Normally Friday afternoons I move around just to visit young guys. So I'll probably be in Isili or South Sea.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
With young guys.
With young guys, chilling.
And listening to them.
And listening.
I love doing that on Fridays.
All right, interesting. So there's so many things that people probably do not know about you. And, I was researching about you.
Yes.
And there are several things that came out that I think were really, came out strong. First of all, that at some point in your life, you were a driver. Is that true, first of all?
That's one thing many Kenyans don't know. I started my political career around 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But the only way I could get in was as a driver. So I started my political career as a driver.
How is that? Because most of our politicians, that's not the way they started.
I was a driver. I was in campus at that time, campus politics. I was also trying to find a way to, pay my school fees.
Right.
Because we didn't have a lot of money then. And so an opening came up. There was a director of youth in the Kibaki campaign, who is my good friend, called Patrick. And so he needed a driver. And so I got a job. But for a month or so, I exceeded. I performed better. So, of course, when you go to meetings, you leave me downstairs, I wipe the car.
Oh,
then
really? You did all that?
Yeah, he told me, you have 2 hours. So I'd go back to campus driving this big car. And they would be like, wow, look at this guy,
Yeah.
But then, here and there, I'd give him political advice, like, why don't you guys try this, try that. So very quickly, I became his personal assistant. Then
now from the driver to the personal assistant.
PA. Then I was in charge of the entire university's campaign. Then after that, it was just upward from there.
But that's the thing about you, that, you did not start a political career, when we were seeing you on TV. It was actually in the background.
Some people think I started a few years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you actually started it when you're in campus.
Yes.
And you studied actuarial science.
Yes.
Okay, so why did you ditch actuarial, that trade?
The profession.
The profession, rather, and decide to go into politics?
I think leadership has always been my thing. And for me, I don't see it necessarily as politics, but as leadership. Because leadership is not about positions. It's about influence in whichever sphere of life you are in. Now, it just so happened that throughout my childhood and growing up, I was always in positions of leadership.
What do you mean? So in the family setup, let's say when you're say 10, what sort of leadership position did you take at that time?
I'll give you an example. When I was in class 1, there about 6 years old, 6 years of age, I actually led a strike.
What?
In my estate, a protest.
Okay.
Because where we were staying, we had our neighbors. I grew up in Gara, and our neighbors was a community of Asians, and the place was very clean. The grass was cut.
Yes.
The houses were very, well painted. Ours was not. So, I told the kids, we deserve better. So can we protest this? Yeah.
Okay.
So we actually had placards and we went round, and our parents took action for a month.
The parents took action?
Yes. Then we went back.
Okay.
And of course, growing up, I was a prefect in school. I was a head boy. I was a captain in Lenana school. So it's always been there. But I've always felt a very heavy calling towards leadership, and especially at a time like now in our country, where we have a huge generation of young people who actually need to wake up from the apathy,
right,
the slumber of apathy, and just get involved in building this country.
But that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I want you to take you back to the time that you became the chair of TNA.
Yes.
At that point, were you like, goodness, this is crazy, or did you know that it was bound to happen at some point?
You see,
because you were 27, right?
Yes, I became chairman of TNA at 27.
Okay, I won't say that who's on that age right now.
Of course, at that time, and even now, I was the youngest chair of a ruling party.
Yes.
Of a party.
Yes.
In the country. Today, I'm still the youngest chair of a ruling party in the world. So, in the beginning, it was very difficult, leading not just people, but political leaders.
Right.
Older, than your parents.
Did they trust you when you came up with all these ideas? Did they think
In
like,
the
no,
beginning-
huyu sasa anatuambia nini?
In the beginning, many of them didn't. There was a lot of skepticism. You know, they thought President Uhuru Kenyatta had lost his mind.
Right.
You know, in fact, there's a blog I saw the other day, or rather I saw then, that Will Sakaja's inexperience cost Uhuru the presidency.
Okay.
So the 20th of May 2012, when he launched the party, and I got many young people, we had a point to prove.
Yeah.
And in less than 10 months, we won the presidency. You know, so, I mean, with time, the older people within the political sphere have come to respect me. You know, and we may not always agree on everything, but there's actually that respect, and people no longer look down.
Right.
Because I was encouraged by the words of the scripture in the book of Timothy. Paul tells Timothy, "Don't let anyone look down upon you because you're young, but set an example, you know, to the believers in word, in your speech, in your actions."
Okay.
And that's what I've held true to till today.
So you know your Bible too. All right. So let's fast forward, and you know, being a nominated member of parliament,
Yes.
you know, there's a lot of concern, especially right now across voters in the whole country, of people wanting more from their leaders. Like you mentioned, you know, leadership is a calling, and you know,
Yes.
there's a point to prove when you're a leader. What is the one thing that you could say that you've been able to achieve in your capacity as nominated member of parliament?
You see, the first thing I've been able to achieve, beyond even being nominated member of parliament, just by being in leadership,
Yeah.
is that today more Kenyans believe that young people can actually lead, and that it's not just about youthfulness. It's about bringing a more sober outlook to things. It's about thinking about the future of this country and vision. And so I've enabled many young people to also believe in their own abilities. That for me is the biggest achievement. But for the last 3 or so years, I've been in parliament, and the work of a legislator is to make laws. I'm very grateful to God that I've had the strength to pass a number of bills. The first one was 30% procurement opportunities
Right.
for youth, women, and persons with disability. That was my hallmark legislation. It was part of the Jubilee Manifesto. It's something our president and deputy president really believe in, and so I was proud of that. And now we are, of course, strengthening the monitoring mechanisms. Soon I'll be releasing, because we strengthen the law, the list of shame, the counties that are not giving youth and women business, and the ministries at the national level. The second piece of legislation I've been able to pass, which again is very exciting, is landmark law, is the National Employment Authority Act. You know, too many of our young people have lost hope in terms of looking for jobs, looking for employment. And for the first time, we have an authority that will create job centers in every part of this country, where no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what your surname is, you have an equal shot at getting employment.
And this is going to happen. It's not just in the books.
It's going to happen. The law passed. The president assented to it like 2 months ago.
Right.
I've been able to lobby, and we've secured from the national government
Right.
200 million shillings so far to set it up.
Right.
We're talking to a lot of donors. We've been talking to people from across the world on how they can support it. Centrelink in Australia. We have the UK. We have many countries.
Right.
So very soon, and in the coming financial year, we'll start seeing job centers. And you see, this is some of the things, because I've legislated, I want to also implement in Nairobi as governor.
It's interesting that you bring up the issue about being the governor of Nairobi, because it seems like you're doing really well in your position currently. And the question has been, do you have enough experience to take on a city like Nairobi? So what is it that you will be for Nairobi and Nairobians that Evans Kidero is not?
You see, the first thing is that many times experience is the good name we give to our past mistakes. So if it is experience of leaving a trail of disaster in companies you've managed, if it's experience of being a leader of insults and whatnot, that experience I do not have. What I have is vision. Despite being in politics for 11 years, I've been able to show leadership in the roles I've been given, and delivery and results. Now, what do Nairobians want? Nairobians want, first of all, and which is my the basic foundation of my political philosophy, that every Kenyan, even before Nairobi, wants the same thing: to go about their lives peacefully, to make something out of themselves, and to guarantee their children a future. So what do they expect from a governor of Nairobi? Number one, a Nairobi that is working. a Nairobi where we have equal opportunities, fair opportunities, a fair shot at life for each and everybody. We collect more than 30-40 billion shillings, in total, in terms of the budget. The county collects 11 billion. I think it's actually much higher, but what is quoted is 11 billion. But Nairobians are not seeing services. Garbage is not being collected. The roads are terrible right now. I was in Umoja just the other day. It's like driving on the moon, Young people are not getting opportunities to do business, opportunities to grow. We're not, taking health services to the lowest informal settlements, despite all of this money.
Right.
And the first hindrance towards doing that is the fact that we have had politics mired, one in tribe and in corruption. So you need a leader who is resolute enough to weed out the cartels, the corrupt cartels that we have. And the only way you do it is by not being part of the cartels. That's the first way. Secondly, by automating systems to the greatest extent possible. So human interaction with cash goes down, and then delivering those services that are required.
Right.
Now, for the time I've been in leadership, and it's something I hold close to my heart, I believe leaders must have integrity. I don't have a single scandal. I don't hope to start having one now.
Right.
I'm young. I'm 32.
Yes.
I want by the time I'm done with Nairobi, I have a clean record still.
Yes.
So for me, it's really not about me. It's about what we can be able to do to transform this great city of ours.
All right. Now, the thing is, Sakaja, and I've followed you on Twitter, and I've read articles that are talking about what the kind of vision you have for Nairobi.
Yes.
But the question always goes back to how will you be able to win the trust of the voters here? Because you see, all these ideas are things that we've had. Some of them we've had before. We've heard about looking after the youth, cleaning up Nairobi, and all these other great things. But once this person is elected, it takes so much time. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it does not. So what is that thing that you will do as Sakaja to win the hearts and the votes of the people here in Nairobi?
You see, the first thing, I know the people of Nairobi they're not stupid. You cannot fool the people all the time.
Yes.
And the people are able to tell a leader who is genuine, who's coming from a point of sincerity, and actually wants to work for them. Secondly, if you look at a track record of delivery, that in the past 3 years I've been able, for example, in my position in Parliament, to sponsor 4 bills. I only mentioned 2. I have 2 others that are in the pipeline, that are being done. In a parliament of 349 members, where very many others never even introduce a motion. If you look at how I've managed TNA as a political party, and to where we are today, I think that track record can show people that, look, this is a guy who's about delivery. And I've been extremely resolute about my leadership. Now, if it is about trust in terms of whether I can deliver, I think at some point, people have to actually believe that it can be done. Because I can't say, give me 1 year to practice, then I show you. I've not held that kind of an executive position, and which is the same case as with many other governors. I've had people asking that you've just been nominated. Why do you want to jump and be elected as a governor, and you've not even been an MP, elected MP or MCA? But many people don't realize, out of the 47 governors we have today, 36 also have never held any elective position, leave alone being a nominated member of parliament. So leadership is the ability to show in many ways, not just in putting up a dam here or whatnot, but in terms of the character of the person who is asking for the position of leadership.
So then what happens if you don't succeed? What happens to Johnson Sakaja, this politician in the making? What happens next if you don't win come 2017?
In the highly unlikely event. You see,
all right, because it's a tough contest. I mean, the people who you will be going against, people who some of them are right now in leadership positions.
Of course, there's a sitting governor and the many others.
Exactly.
I have no plan B, because I believe that we can actually do this. I've interacted with many Nairobians who are saying it's about time, and they're fed up with leadership that has no space for them, that is not engaging them. The people are not feeling that they're participating in this city.
Right.
So for me, I think the plan is to win. Plan B is to win, and plan C is to win. And I believe we can do it. I am confident, and I have that hope that this match is unstoppable. Because one of the things we're going to do, the tone of politics for a long time, even in the city, has been extremely tribal. We have people who are running because they're coming from a certain community, and they're saying that my community must take it this time. People asking me, Sakaja, can you go to your community and be... Nairobi does not want a Luya governor, or a Kikuyu governor, or a Luo governor. It wants a governor for Nairobi. And in this one election, the young people of this city are going to pull a very fast one. And the women and many other sober Nairobians are going to pull a fast one on that tone of politics that has been extremely negative and that has held us back from achieving greatness. Last year, we had two very important guests in Nairobi. We had the Pope, His Holiness. We had Barack Obama, and they said the exact same thing, that Kenya is a country that is standing at the cusp of greatness if we deal with two things, tribalism and corruption. And those are the two things we must start with in this election.
Especially here in Nairobi.
Especially in Nairobi.
And especially at City Hall, the cartels that, are causing chaos there. But very quickly, because now it's time for you to, to try to take my job away. Do you have faith that your party will have you as the flag bearer for Nairobi, the Nairobi Gubernatorial seat?
You see, within my party, there are very many, there are a number of contestants who've come up. There are probably going to be more. What I believe in, the systems that we've already been able to put in place, even in the last election, is that the best candidate will win, And it is not the party that will install a leader. We will go to the people, and we'll have a very free and fair nomination process. At that time, of course, we will then be in Jubilee, within Jubilee Party. We'll have a nomination process where the leader that the people feel can represent them best, and that can deliver and that they trust, then becomes the governor of Nairobi. And I'm confident that we'll be able to do that. And even within the party, we have a number of candidates. I don't see any of them as my opponent, and I tell them that you're not my opponents. I'm not fighting against you. You're actually allies and partners. And ultimately, we'll have only one candidate within Jubilee. We'll move together. Our opponent is the man sitting in City Hall today, Governor Kidero. That is the man we want to unseat.
Miguna has also said that, he's coming for that seat too. What do you think about him? Do you think he stands a chance?
Well, I cannot deride any opponent. I think I'd just like to welcome him to Jubilee to participate in the process.
All right. Fine. So let's do this. Let's walk to the news set.
Okay.
Enough of politics.
Wow.
So your kids, your two boys, is it?
Yes, I have two sons.
Two sons.
JB
Are they
and
watching
TJ.
you? Are they watching you right
They're
now?
They're asleep right now. They sleep at 8.
Asleep. They couldn't stay up to watch Daddy read the news.
I'm sure the mom will woke them up.
Okay,
They're
fine.
probably awake.
What kind of a dad are you?
What kind of a dad?
Yeah.
How many kinds are there?
Well, the responsible, irresponsible, one that has time, one that doesn't have time for, especially being, politician, especially one in they're making for a seat like Nairobi. Do you have time for them?
I make time. I try at least twice or thrice a week to drop them to school. Or pick them up from school. The kind of dad I am, I know I love my kids to death, so I try my best to make time. I think if something is important to you, you'll always find time. No matter how busy you are, you'll always be able to find time for them.
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So there you go. Time for you to read the news for us. I've never seen you do this. I've seen you do quite a number of things, but not this one.
Okay, so the news here or there?
No, it's there. You have to look at the people. Now, these are some of the people are watching, some of the voters. Yes. So let's see if you know English.
So I'd have put my own script if I'm talking straight to them.
So I want you to introduce yourself again and then take it away. You can see clearly?
Yes, I can.
All right, fine. Take it away. Have fun.